Hi students, today we are going to study the continuation of the lesson is matter around us pure. So already we have learned that there are two types of mixers, one is homogeneous mixer and another one is heterogeneous mixer. Now today based on the particle size, if I mix two substances based on particle size, there are three types. One is true solution, second one is colloidal solution, third one is suspension. So what are those? So here I kept three beakers. The first beaker I am taking water. In that I am adding sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is the salt. I am adding sodium chloride and using the glass rod just I mix it well. Using the glass rod I am mixing well. So you can able to see that the sodium chloride is completely soluble. So this solution is known as a true solution. So where the completely soluble is known as true solution. In the another water already I have added some sand. I am also having little sand. I am adding sand. And after mixing this sand particles is not soluble. See, you can able to see that sand particles are insoluble in water. It settles down. This type of solution is known as suspension, where the substance is not soluble is known as suspension. And the another beaker I have taken water. In that I am going to add starch solution. Starch solution, you know that starch, plants is producing the starch. So the starch powder is white color powder. I am adding little starch powder. Starch powder I am adding. The starch powder neither soluble nor insoluble. Neither soluble nor insoluble, whereas we can say that partially soluble. 50% soluble and 50% will insoluble. The insoluble will not settle down. The insoluble will just move around. It will float. This type of solution is known as colloidal solution. So there are three types of mixers. In one mixer completely soluble. In another one is completely insoluble. In the another one partially soluble. So based on that, there are three types: true solution, colloidal solution and suspension. We are going to study the differences. First one, nature. So the true solution is homogeneous in nature. So homogeneous means it has only one phase. You can able to see only liquid phase. Where is the solid phase? The solid phase completely soluble. So it is a homogeneous solution, whereas the other two are heterogeneous. Here we can able to see two substances, so we can say heterogeneous. But the colloidal solution also heterogeneous, because one layer we can able to see some of the particles are floating. So it is also heterogeneous mixer, heterogeneous solution or mixer. Then particle size. So the particles which dissolve, the sodium chloride is soluble. The particle size of the sodium chloride is 1 nanometer. Nm means nanometer. Nanometer means 10 to the power of minus 9 meter. What is 10 to the power of minus 9? 1 divided by 1 followed by 9 zeros. 10 to the power 9 is known as 1 nanometer. Very particle size is very small. The particle which soluble is known as solute. The solute particle size is 10 to the power of minus 9. Whereas the particle size of suspension is 100 nanometer. 100 nanometer means it is somewhat bigger size. So that you can able to see the particle size. Whereas the colloidal solution is in between suspension and true solution. It is comes around 1 to 100 nanometer. So colloidal solution always come in between true solution and suspension. One is soluble, one is insoluble, whereas colloidal solution is partially soluble. And the third one is scattering of light. If I pass light through the solution, true solution, the light will not scatter. Light will straightly pass away and it will comes to the other side. The light will not scatter. Whereas if I pass the light through the colloidal solution as well as suspension, the light rays will scatter. That property is known as a Tyndall effect, or that effect is known as Tyndall effect. We will study detailedly Tyndall effect later on. So now you see the differences. By passing the light in true solution, light will not scatter, whereas the other two light will scatter. Then fourth one is stability. which is stable among the three, which is stable? Whichever is not settling, that is stable. So here there is no particle settled, there is no solute particles, all the solute particles are soluble, there is no particle settled, so it is stable. Whereas here the suspension is unstable. Similarly here also, if you keep it for some time, some particles will settle down. So this is also unstable. Majority of the particles will move around or float, and some particle will settle. So here the stability, both are stable. True solution and colloidal solutions are stable, whereas this is unstable. And settlement also, colloidal solution and the true solution will not easily settle, whereas this here it will settle down directly. Then separation, how will we separate? By which technique we can separate? So the dissolved particles, how to reverse process, how to take back. So on heating, water will be gets vaporized or water will be evaporated. The salt will be separated. So that process is known as evaporation. By evaporation, we can remove the solute and solvent particles in true solution, whereas in colloidal solution there is a technique called centrifugation. So what is centrifugation? We will discuss later. By centrifugation, we can separate the particles, and by filtration, the suspension particle, the suspended part, this is called as suspended particles. The suspended particles easily removed by filtration or decantation. Just if I pour the solution like this, by decantation also I can remove the suspended particles. So by this technique we can able to separate. Now examples for true solution, whichever is soluble in water, sugar in water, true solution, salt in water, true solution. For colloidal solution, milk is a colloidal liquid, ink is a colloidal substance, blood colloidal solutions. So ink we cannot be able to say that it is a true solution because it is not transparent. So normally true solutions are very transparent in nature. And suspensions, sand in water which is insoluble, they are comes under suspension. So we have studied the differences between true solutions, suspensions and colloidal solutions. I hope you understood the difference between these three. It is very important. You write down this tabular column in your classwork note and study. And next class we will study the continuation of, in detail we are going to study all these true solutions, colloidal solutions. So thank you students.